Well, hello everyone and welcome to Social Chats. This is episode number 34. My name is Heather and my talented business partner, Catherine, is our producer today. So Catherine will be working vetting all the comments and putting information about our guest into the comment section. We would love if you could let us know that you're here when you do arrive, maybe where you're from. You could even tell us, in fact, if you are a real estate agent, because today's show is going to be dedicated to the real estate industry. For the past year, Catherine and I have been traveling throughout British Columbia doing our Master's Series boot camp. And the majority of our students have been real estate agents. We also teach at the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. And so we thought it would be really powerful if we invited someone on the show that dedicates their career to helping real estate agents, whether they're new or seasoned, get their business off the ground. So our guest is Yenkana, and we're going to bring Ray in a few minutes into the studio. But first, this is a Facebook Live show, and what that means is when our guest is on the show, you are welcome to ask our guest questions directly in the comment section. If you're watching the replay, you can still ask your questions right there. Now, if you think you would like to learn how to do your own show live here on Facebook and you'd like a little bit of help, don't hesitate to reach out to Catherine and I, because we love to help people when it comes to social media. As well, if you think you would be a valuable guest for our audience to learn from, we would love you to also send us a private message. This show is dedicated to you, the small business person that is trying to make your way through the jungle of marketing your business. And we go out and we find people that are actually killing it in their industry. They're leaders, and we invite them to be on Social Chats to share with you how it is they are doing it. So it is now my pleasure to bring into the studio a guest that we have been working with for a number of years. Yenkana has been in the real estate industry for 33 years. And the first 16 years of his career was actually in the residential and commercial real estate. And then he moved to the Lower Mainland, and he started dedicating his time at his brokerage, helping realtors to improve their skills and thereby improving their business. Now, Ray is a happily married man to Patsy. They have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. And Ray, you are now in the studio. Welcome to Social Chats.
Thanks, Heather. That's awesome.
Now, a little bird just told me that you just wrapped up another session at your office. Are you in Burnaby right now?
Today I'm in Burnaby because every Thursday morning we have a training class here in Burnaby, because that kind of covers off all of our agents that are west of the Fraser River, west of the Port Mann Bridge, and all the way out to West Vancouver. So we have agents in all those areas, and then we also have guests. Every session we do, there's guests that come to the class. You know, people from other brokerages that would like to participate. It's open. 99% of our classes are open.
Excellent. And you've been in the business for 33 years now, so you definitely must know what you're talking about.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but length of time doesn't necessarily mean, length of time doesn't necessarily translate into knowing what you're talking about. I would say that it's only because I've been active in the business and I worked in the field, part of the business, relentlessly for the first 16 years, and participated in probably just about any kind of transaction that could be done. I was involved in it. So I did a lot of commercial transactions. I did a lot of residential transactions. And that's actually what makes you, if you're an expert, is only because you've done the business, right?
They used to say that, I know when I started in real estate back 25 years ago, they used to say, if you can make it your first 2 years, then you can be successful. Is that true today?
Well, part of the thing in the first 2 years, Heather, is in the first 2 years, there's so many things you don't know. I mean, yes, you've got the course, yes, you can pull up web forms, but you don't know how to prospect properly. You don't know how to sell. You don't know how to close sales. You don't know how to make a listing present. There's so many things you don't know how to do. You don't know how to market. You don't know how to negotiate. So in the first 2 years, especially if you worked with a mentor, the mentor will short circuit some of that for you. And if you're in a place where there's training and mentorship, your chances are that you will grow, sooner than later. Before, in real estate, it's one of those things where we're always asking ourselves, can I make it to the point where I'm generating enough income that I can actually stay? And unfortunately, there's stats like, I don't know how accurate it is today, but it's been pretty accurate over the years. For every 100 people that buy the course, maybe only 50 are going to write the exam.
Yeah.
If they write the exam, only 25 are actually going to pass. And of the 25 that pass, only 12 are going to get licensed. And then about 2 or 3 years later, there's maybe 2 or 3 left.
Wow, those are...
We're in a high attrition business, and any broker in the province will tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that actually leads me to my first question that I have for you, Ray, is if I'm a new realtor, how actually can I get started in this business?
Well, I like to tell people right out of the gate that what we need to do in real estate is realize that we have to make a shift. We have to make a mental shift. Robert Kiyosaki's got this little 4 quadrants of how you earn income. And on the top left, he's got an E for employment. On the bottom left, he's got an S for self-employed. And on the top right, he's got a B for a business owner. And the bottom right, he's got an I for an investor. So what happens, and if you've seen Robert's little diagram, people are trying to transition from an employee. And the biggest problem of being an employee, which makes it hard for people to transition, they've trained themselves, and they're habitually people that show up and they swap their time for a paycheck. And what happens in real estate is nobody really cares if you show up. The only thing you're going to get paid for is productivity. So you've got to bring value to every day, to every person you meet, and you've got to make that mental shift about what do I need to bring, not just show up.
Exactly. And hi, Scott Olson. Nice to see you here watching our social chats. That's great.
We call him Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President. One of the past presidents of Fraser Valley Board, a great guy.
Yes. Yeah, I know Scott quite well too. Ray, tell us how you actually help existing agents that need to raise their game. So
when I meet an existing agent, we do an interview, and really what I'm trying to find out is what is their belief system? What's their level of awareness of their own potential? And unfortunately, it's rare to find somebody that has a high awareness of what they could earn in real estate. Now, it's not their fault. I mean, they enter a business where, the average realtor in British Columbia is going to make less than 35 grand in a year. I mean, at $35,000, even the government says you're at the poverty level. And out of that 35, and those are national stats from Korea. I mean, at $35,000, you still have to pay your office fees. So my first thing when I meet people is to raise their level of awareness and ask them to reflect and say, really, whatever number they have, if you're making a certain number, I usually like to say to people, you know what, I like to help people do their first double. I can't make the promise that we can do it in a year. A lot of times we do, but there's a little bit of luck. But sometimes we do. But oftentimes I say to people, I can actually guarantee you that you can double your income in 3 years. And the way we do it is simple math. We're going to I'll show you how to increase your marketing and increase your influence so that we grow your business by about 26.5%, 26%. We do that 3 years, and if you do the math, you're going to be at 100. You're going to have made 100% increase, double. You will have doubled your income. But some people are gung ho, and when they get exposed to new ideas, they would say, "I never thought of that. Didn't realize that would work so well." And it might open up a whole. The biggest problem we have after we get past the basics, the biggest problem we have is success. So if we hit a bunch of success, then we are tempted to stop learning. If you stop learning, you might never find out what your true potential is, because I've seen individuals who I've worked with over the years not only double, but triple and quadruple, and even beyond that. Not everybody, but I've seen people do that because their level of awareness was raised, and they felt, you know what, my head's opened up, and I can see and believe things I couldn't see and believe before.
Mm-hmm.
About what I can do, about what my own potential is.
Now, I've heard, Ray, that you are actually helping agents as far as Grand Forks, and you have over 230 agents that you're working. How can you work with all these people? Like, how is it?
You'll have to meet my general manager. His name is David Rochelle.
Okay.
If you meet David Rochelle, he runs the whole operation. He lets me think as big as I want. And then alongside David, we have some other very competent broker managers. Like we have in Burnaby, we have a person by the name of Ari Laridorfi. And in Surrey, we just have a gentleman that just joined us. His name is Rob Hoffman. And we've worked with Rob over the years, but he just kind of came back to kind of help us in a broker capacity just because we keep growing. But
wow.
In Grand Forks, we still meet with them remotely and talk. Matter of fact, I was talking to my realtors out there last night because of the catastrophe that's going on there in terms of the flooding.
Yeah.
But I have a couple of people there that are doing very well. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that's with us in Grand Forks, he's one of the top guys in town now. His marketing has got it to the point where he's kind of taken over his marketplace.
Okay. And is it possible that you could share with us a little bit about your training programs? What is it that you're teaching people?
Okay. So if you were to, if anybody wants to go onto my meetup group, so probably afterwards we can put a link in the bottom, but it's really simple. If you Google Meetup and Ray Yenkana, you're going to come across two groups, and those are the platforms that we use to promote what we're doing, so anybody can find us. But then if they find us and they go on the meetup group is basically it's a social media platform for organizing meetings. So by making it available to our people get the messages, get the emails. The meetup group kind of makes people aware of what's going on. But what we do in the meetup, and you'll see the whole curriculum, you can scroll back in the meetup group and see what did we do in our past meetings. You can probably go back for till 2010. So you can probably go back seven years, and you'll see that it's quite often we don't finish a complete curriculum in a year, because there's certain things that we will do. Like right now, we're in a series of negotiation classes, but that's like a 4-part set of classes. In the fall, we do a series of 4 classes on marketing. That's a 4-part class. And several times during the year, there's certain classes we repeat as needed. But one of the things that is always a winner is when we do a 2-part class on how to do a buyer interview. How to do a buyer interview, how to get the buyer signed, how to work with the buyer and get paid. And we do the exact similar thing, how to do a proper listing presentation. So the buyer interviews and the listing presentation classes, we probably run those about once a quarter. And in between that, the curriculum consists of, like every quarter we'll run a class on statistics. So we help people take the stats that we all get from the board, and how do I turn those stats into a talking piece? How do I answer questions? You know, when a person answers a question using statistics, the people listening to the answer is thinking, this person knows what they're talking about. So we have statistic classes several times a year, because without proper understanding of statistics and the ability to communicate that to both buyers and sellers, you're going to have trouble establishing, market value and helping either the buyers to buy and pay what they should pay, or the sellers to come on the market at a price that is going to sell. The curriculum covers a lot of things that are sales, marketing related, to help the agents be totally equipped so that they can get out there and do what they need to do, and then come back for refreshers anytime. One of the classes that's quite popular is a listing presentation class, or how to build a pre-list package. I've had actually some agents who've been to that class 8 or 9 times. How do I build a pre-list package? Because if you have a deadly pre-list package, like for many years of my life, I was averaging 100 transactions a year. The way I did that was I would list over 100 properties a year. For probably over 10 years, I listed over 100 properties a year. I would have never done that if I hadn't developed a really good pre-list package. So I say to agents, you know what? You've got to learn how to keep inventory in the marketplace. And so let's do a workshop. So the next time somebody wants to know a little bit about building a pre-list package, just join the meetup group. It's a free join. It's a free join, and there's no obligation. There's absolutely no obligation to join our brokerage to come to training, none whatsoever. Matter of fact, we give coffee and goodies.
That actually was one of my questions. If I'm not a REMAX agent or I'm not REMAX Little Oak, and I'm with another company, am I welcome to come to these learning sessions?
Everybody is welcome, because we have to run. We feel obligated to run that class because we promised the people that joined us that we would help them grow their business. So a lot of times people don't know what they don't know. So we're going to run the training for our own people. You know, quite often in a class, I might have 2 or 3 or 4 guys from the office. I might have 10, 15, 20 guys from somebody else, and I'll single out the guys from the office and say, look, some of them will remember, they'll recognize. I'll say, Harmon, I'm only running this class for you. Mickey, I'm only running this class for you. And the rest of you are welcome. And if you get something out of it, great. And usually when they come back the next week, I say, tell me something. Did you use anything? That's usually one of my questions in the next class. Did you use anything from the last class to make yourself a deal or make something happen better for you? And it's nice to get that feedback, right? I
have a question. How do your agents in your office feel about you opening the doors to other agents?
I haven't had any negative feedback about it, because I think my agents realize that, and it's true in the case of many of them. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Many of them came to us because they needed help. Yeah. So, I don't think our agents are mean-spirited. If they needed help and they came, somebody else needs help and they come, we're happy to help them. If they join us in the future, that's their prerogative. That's a different discussion. You have nothing to do with the training.
It just makes the industry overall more professional.
We think so. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I tell people, Ray, I want to join you. I said, well, you know what? I can introduce you to the guy. So in Burnaby, I'll introduce you to Ari, and in Surrey, I'll introduce you to Rob. And most of the time, I introduce people to David Rochelle. I'll introduce you, and then you're going to have an interview with a broker who's going to ask you. I mean, Dave does a proper interview. Like, he'll Google you, he'll check with counsel. If you got something screwy going on, he'll uncover it.
Hey, that's important, because that's your reputation as a company. I know, it's funny listening to your story about everything that you're doing. I used to be a managing broker for a number of years, and I would be so surprised at the real estate agents in my company that flew by the seat of their pants, that never had a listing presentation and just winged it all the time. And I don't think you can survive today being that type of agent. Your reputation is only going to go so far now.
Well, I think sometimes people have survived because there was no competition. But once there's trained, educated competition, you have to go up against one of those people, you're going to be in trouble, because you're not. I say one of the things in class all the time, and what I say is amateurs answer questions and professionals ask questions. And so the seller soon finds out, when he's interviewing this realtor, that every time the seller asks a question, they give an answer. Whereas a real salesman, if you ask him a question, he'll ask you a question to clarify. Mm-hmm. And then you have to clarify, and by clarifying, you basically lead and influence either the seller or the buyer to make the right decision. And if you said to realtors, you guys are leaders. You're all leaders out in the marketplace. We don't think of ourselves as leaders. We think of ourselves as transaction coordinators. And really, what the public wants, in my opinion, the public wants somebody to lead them, guide them, so the transaction is seamless. And if there's problems that arise, which quite often there can be problems. I mean, we have some changes coming down the pike in the next few months in the province. And there'll be a lot of issues that, if you're not prepared to step up and lead, find the answers, solve the problems, it's going to be very difficult for you. And when things are difficult, it's stressful. So I'm back to, like, be a master of the craft. Don't just be a transaction coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Things are changing so rapidly. I want to share with everyone. We met up with Ray last week. We went to Ray's office in Burnaby I love having chats and coffee with Ray. He's just a ball of energy, and he's always showing us his little toolkit where he's got all his special gadgets he's using. You're killing it on Instagram right now.
Well, here's the thing. I grew up in an era in real estate. I grew up in an era when we didn't have that type of media. We, basically, if we were going to get known in our neighborhood or the area, the town we worked in, we had to put up signs, billboards, send flyers out. And now we have social media, and the stats tell us that 80% of Canadians spend at least 1 hour, if not 2 hours a day on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So people say, well, Ray, I'm not into Facebook. I'm not into Instagram. Nor am I. But my clients, my customers are. So guess what? I better change my ways. If nobody's reading the local rag, if nobody's checking the newspaper, if people are throwing away my flyers, then I better go where the customers are.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And are you having fun?
I love it. I love the business, and we're having a lot of fun.
I know you're having fun. Whenever I read your posts, when I watch your videos, you're just sharing, you're natural, you're happy. And so it's a joy when you pop into my newsfeed.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, we're just about up with our social chat today, and I have a few more minutes left. And I would really love it, Ray, if you could share with our listeners probably the best tip you could give them as a new realtor getting started in the business.
So the best tip I could give a new realtor is you've got to realize that the people when you come into the business, you already know, I don't know if it's 50 people or 100 people. And the big mistake is not to go and meet every one of those people, because they already know you, probably trust you, probably like you. So don't ignore those people. And now you get the permission from them that I usually ask the question, like, I'm new to the business, and I'm just wondering, if somebody mentions real estate, would you consider referring them to me? I've never had anybody, when I was new, and all the new people I train, I've never had anybody say to them, no, I wouldn't refer anybody to you. Even if they're thinking that, they're not going to say it. Now, those 100 people that that you have this meeting with, those 100 people know at least 5 people on average. They know probably on average, the real average is more like 20 people. Well, let's just work with 5 to 10 people. So all of a sudden, your sphere of influence went from 100 people to either 500 or to 1,000. And now if you stay in touch with those people, that's the secret. The secret is to get the most basic CRM you can get, that you can afford, and you start to drip on those people. And then now, which is the bigger group? The people you know or the people you don't know? Well, every time they give you 5 names, you better try and meet those 5 people. And you start building your database. Now, when I started in the business, and way back in the late 80s, I got this idea to build a database. And this is back in the day. I hate to tell you this, that I was using an XT with I don't even know if it had 5 gigs. I don't even know. No, it didn't. It had a 5 megabyte hard drive.
Ray, I used to use a Rolodex.
Well, I had the Rolodex, but I wanted to get automated, and the CRM gets you automated. And I started sending stuff and staying in touch with people, and my database would produce for me probably 60 to 70% of my business every year. And then I just kept building the database. I lived in a little town called Fort St. John, and they still might remember me up there, but I used to have in my database 1,000 people, and the town when I started had about 12,000 people. So I almost had 1 out of 10 in my database. Build your database, stay in touch with them. That's the beginning secret.
All right. So it's a numbers game, right?
Correct.
Build both. Correct. I used to say to my agents that activity, actual moving your body and picking up the phone or going to meet people breeds business. Real estate is breeded not just sitting there waiting for something to happen, but taking action.
You know, you've got to show these people that you care. So when you first start, all the people, when I first started, I made my list and I went and had coffee with every single one of them. I didn't tell them on the phone. I said, hey, I got something to share with you. Let's go for coffee. I'm buying the coffee. So I bought the first coffee. You know what happened as a result of that? I ended up out of 100 with probably 10 people that became regular people that I did meetings with that referred business to me. And I can either work by myself and recreate this thing every year, or I can take care of my people and have them refer business to me.
I love that. Take care of people. We say that about social media, that the people that like, comment, and are there, Margaret's here today. Margaret's one of those people. They're your ambassadors.
Absolutely. Take
care of them and they will help take care of you. Definitely.
You're preaching to the converted.
Yes, we are. Oh, well, I have to say, I'm looking forward. Catherine is as well. We were very excited that you agreed to be on our show today. So first of all, thank you for that and taking the time. We're looking forward to coming and working with the group of salespeople that you're working with. We'll get that together.
Absolutely.
I guess that's about it, Ray. That's it's funny how fast 30 minutes can go, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, your training sessions, I didn't ask you, how long are they?
We usually go for an hour, have a coffee break and a bathroom break, and then we come back for about 40 to 45 minutes. So we're never over 2 hours. We never go over 2 hours, and we never go over an hour without a break.
Okay, and are you meeting once a month? What's the...
Once a week in Burnaby, once a week in Surrey, once a week in Abbotsford. Abbotsford covers the eastern side of the valley, Surrey the middle side, Burnaby the totally west side.
Wow, you're doing 3 sessions a week helping real estate agents to be successful.
Well, if you got 230 agents, you promise them you're going to help them grow their business. The ones that are serious, you got to work with them.
I love that. Congratulations on an amazing job.
Thank you.
That's dedication.
I've got good people behind me, like my friend David Rochelle and all my admin staff. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and Cameron. So we give 2 thumbs up for Cameron as well.
Absolutely.
Ray, I wanted to thank you very much once again for joining Catherine and I on Social Chats, and I'll look forward to speaking with you in just a little bit.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Okay, super.
Bye-bye.
Well, everyone, that was an incredible 30-minute session with Ray Yenkana of REMAX Little Oak Realty, who dedicates his career to helping real estate agents, not just new ones, but a lot of new ones, to start their business and be successful. And that's a great story. Catherine and I have been speaking with several people over the last month who all are dying to get on Social Chats and share their expertise. So right now we're just working out a few little glitches. We have some very talented people from many different walks of marketing, whether it's online marketing, social media, networking, as well. Catherine and I are working on putting our courses online, as well as we've got some free courses that we're videotaping. And all of that stuff should be out in the next month or 2 as we're getting closer to summertime. Catherine says, thank you very much. She has been our producer on today's show, our 34th Social Chat, and we will be in touch with everyone soon. Don't forget, you can still ask your questions if you're watching the replay of this show, and we will always answer your questions because we pay attention to our notifications on social media. My name is Heather, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Thank you, everyone, for watching.